I'm going to spend some time doing devotions. So I'm going to be sending out 5 devotions a week. I'm really excited. We're going to be going through the book of Matthew. So what you or your parents can do, download the YouVersion app, the Bible app, and look for Walk with Jesus 21 Days through Matthew. This is going to be under the kids section. You can look up the plans and it's under the kids section. So find day 1 of the material. That's what we're doing today. So just because we're spending more time indoors, it doesn't mean that we need to spend more time apart from God. We can actually spend more time with God, which is so exciting. So we're going to start out, take a minute, pause the video, go like, pause, grab your Bible, grab a pencil, and grab a notebook. You guys got that stuff? You back? You got it? Okay. So let's open up to Matthew 1 through 16. Matthew, open up your Bible, is going to be the New Testament. It's the first book in the New Testament. It's about like that far through at the end. Now, in the book of Matthew, there's some stuff that you kind of need to know. This book was written for Jewish people. Remember God's people, the Jewish people? For years, they were just waiting for a Messiah to come. Remember we had learned this word Messiah, the one that's going to save, the guy who's going to come and save us all? Well, they had been waiting and waiting and waiting for a Messiah to come. And Matthew spends his time writing this book so that they know that the Messiah has come. And everyone needs to know about it. The Jewish people need to know about it. The Gentiles, people who don't know God, people who aren't Jewish, they need to know about it. So he wrote that with that purpose in mind. And do you remember what they said about the Messiah? We've kind of talked about it a little bit in the Old Testament as we've been going through it. Well, if you don't remember, I'll give you a recap. They said that he was going to be a prophet like Moses. So he was going to kind of speak on behalf of God. He was going to be a greater king than David. And we know King David was really up there, like a man after God's own heart. He was going to be a descendant of Abraham and a descendant of David. So that means that they were going to be like his great grandparents. That the whole world was going to be blessed through the Messiah. So they held on to these verses. The Jewish people held on, and they were just waiting for that person to come. They were waiting for that ruler to come. And during this time in Matthew, a lot of the Jewish people had been enslaved. They were taken captive. They were forced to do things that they didn't want to do. They were forced to live away from their family. Their temple had been destroyed. So many things were happening, and they're just waiting for this Messiah to come, this guy who's going to come and save us. And they were just waiting. So let's look at our passage. So Matthew chapter 1, we're not going to read all of it. If you look at it, it's called a genealogy. Do you guys know what that is? Genealogy. Well, a genealogy is like your family history. Your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, and so on and so forth. And what he did here in writing out this genealogy is he was trying to say that, hey, remember how the Messiah was going to come and he was going to be a relative of Abraham? He was going to be a relative of King David? Well, look at this. Look at what I have here. This is proof. Okay, so take a second and look through verses 2 through 16 and kind of just underline the names that you recognize. A lot of these names we've talked about over the last months and months as we're going through the Old Testament. You might recognize Abraham or Isaac, Jacob. Maybe you recognize King David, or you recognize Ruth, Solomon. Do you guys remember Hezekiah? We talked about Hezekiah and his son Manasseh. Or do you remember Josiah, the really, really young king? He was only like 8 years old. Do you remember Joseph, Jesus's father. There's some other names. I mean, maybe you remember more of them, but they're names of people that we've talked about. And all of these people were connected to Jesus. They were his parents and grandparents and great-grandparents, and all of these people, they were connected to Jesus. So it can sound boring to just read all of these names, but what we get out of it is that Matthew is saying, hey guys, look at this passage, okay? Look at all these names. The people here are related to God, and we know that God said that Abraham was going to be connected to Jesus. We know that God said that David was going to be connected to this Messiah. And look here, this guy, this Jesus, this guy who was born, he fits all the qualifications. He's the one that you've been waiting for. God kept his promise. God keeps his promises. Think about that. Maybe some family members you know or friends you know are going out and they're buying more food than normal. Maybe they're watching the news more than normal. Maybe they're making sure you're extra careful so you don't get sick right now. Maybe some people are a little bit scared. Our lives have changed so much recently, but it doesn't change that God keeps his promises. He is the one that saves. We could put our trust in him. We could put our faith in him because he keeps his word. We know that God is coming back again and that we're going to get to spend an eternity with him because we believe in him. So that's just really exciting. I mean, you can look at a whole bunch of boring names on here, but what you see from it is that God kept his promise. So I just want to leave that with you today. Think about it. Read over the verses. Maybe write down something that means to you when you know that God keeps his promises. And I hope you guys have a really, really great day. I'm thinking about you and I'm praying for you.